Everyone, and good morning. We are so excited to have you on our webinar here today. We're going to be talking about using cost history dashboards within Power BI. I've got Steven Stoltz, our head of services, with us here today. He's going to be leading this webinar, and we'll take a little bit of time for some questions afterwards. So again, if y'all have any questions as he's doing the presentation, please be sure to send them in. Without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Steven.
Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to this overview of DESTINI Estimators integration with data visualization tools. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the dashboard that's available to all of our users. And we're also going to look at and discuss how you can access this dashboard and additional resources available to you should you have interest in creating your own dashboards and reports or really enhancing the way that you currently visualize data at your organization. So just a little recap, our latest version of DESTINI Estimator supports multiple users working in the same project at the same time. So what that means is the users work in the estimate, their changes are being stored in an estimate database, as opposed to previous versions where those estimates would be stored in a file. So the versioning of estimates at specific milestones, it allows users to go to a specific milestone of the project for viewing, branching, making changes, and ultimately comparisons. So really the comparisons piece is what we're going to talk about today. So versioning is accessible through the database so that ultimately these dashboards that either you utilize the ones that I'm showing today or ones that you create can access those estimates and properties of those estimates, including costs, location, and other project attributes that you define specific to your organization standards. So we're going to start. What you should see on your screen here as I show that. So what we'll see on our screen here is a project overview dashboard. This is really kind of the home screen of the Power BI dashboards that we provide our users. There's three ways that you can look at the data. So this high-level overview shows you all of the projects that are in your specific team estimate database. You can also look at it in a list view by selecting the list view button here. And this will show the properties and the attributes in a list format, or you can select any of these charts, graphs, maps, and look at just a specific project and its specific attributes. So if we click on the filters and menu pane, this will bring up different filters. The first two at the top are our project filters, and also different reports, which are below. Project filters, so we can filter projects by building type, estimate name, and version of a specific estimate. We can also go in and further refine that search by searching in a specific location, search by year, total building area, or total cost of the project, which can help us narrow down our search. These can be helpful, really, obviously, as we start to fully develop our project estimate database and really starts to narrow down those searches so we can find the projects that we're looking for. So we're going to start by just filtering out and selecting office buildings here. All right. So we're going to filter down and just look at our specific offices. So we're going to jump ahead to the summary dashboard report, and this is going to show you your selected projects based on those filters, along with cost information below. So up in the top right, we can define how we want to see that cost information. This drop-down menu will show you the WBS properties that are specific to your organization. So if we want to look at this maybe in Uniformat Level 1 or Uniformat Level 2 breakdown, we can do that, or any of the other WBS properties available to us. The second column here is looking at the cost per property, and we can define what that property is from this drop-down menu. So in this instance, maybe we want to look at the total building area for offices, but perhaps if we've filtered out and we're looking at hotels, we might want to look at number of keys or number of beds for a hospital. So we can further filter out and look at specific projects. Maybe we don't want to look at all of these projects, so we'll just grab a couple. And you'll notice on the right here, it provides us with an average cost based on the projects that we have selected. This can be useful information potentially for starting a new estimate, or really comparing that against an estimate you've created in terms of establishing some benchmarks on where your previous projects have come in at. So if we jump ahead here to the property details, we can define what details we want to see for the specific project. So maybe we want to start and look at the total building area, and it starts building us a list of project properties as we make those selections. So maybe we want to look at total building area and total skin area, and we'll see this list grow based on the selections we've made. Down in the bottom left, it'll give us our average of the quantities for those particular properties, and in the bottom right, we'll give you the cost per unit average of those properties, if that's information that's useful to you. Next, we're going to take a look at the comparison window, and this comparison dashboard will give you a total cost comparison and a total cost per unit for the projects that you've got selected. The escalation report will allow you to adjust costs for specific estimates based on both region and time, so we can conduct a more accurate comparison of data. So we can select any of those adjustments, and it will update our comparisons in our dashboards. It's worth noting that these escalations, both region and time, are only updating for the purposes of the comparison itself. It's not modifying any underlying data. So once we've established our escalation values for the project, we can come in here and view our escalated costs to get a better understanding of how those escalations impacted the project. So we'll see down here in the bottom that it gives us our initial cost without escalations applied to it, and then our adjusted costs along with the deltas, and then information on the escalation here, so we can confirm that we do in fact have that correct. The other graphs and charts show the previous or the initial estimate versus the escalated estimate. These escalations percolate throughout all of the other reports, so we can have those very accurate cost comparisons in the other dashboards themselves. So these are the reports that we provide to all of our users, and these dashboards that you see here are all available to you by Beck Technology. We've created these and made these available to all of our users. But as I mentioned earlier, now that your projects are stored in an estimate database, you can actually utilize other tools to query that database and create your own dashboards, whether that's in Microsoft Power BI or any other dashboarding tool that you might have available to you, or data visualization tools available to you. So if you want to access these dashboards, I would like to point you to our online community. Under the heading of setting up a Power BI cost history and comparison dashboards, you can download the file here, Power BI cost history download file, and that will give you the Microsoft Power BI information regarding how you actually connect that to your estimate database. So I'd encourage you to go there and check that out. And of course, you can open this file to get a better understanding of how these dashboards are constructed. If you're interested in learning how to create dashboards and really create your own dashboards or enhance what we've provided you, there's a lot of great tools out there. One that I would specifically point to that we found useful is for Microsoft Power BI, called their Dashboard in a Day program. They conduct these courses all over the country, and they're one-day programs that really get into how you connect to data sources, a variety of data sources, and also how you can create visual tools and reports utilizing Microsoft Power BI. If you don't have the time to, or if you don't have the time to attend one of the classes, or it's not in your location, simply Googling this Dashboard in a Day will give you access to that training content. So you can download that information, which includes, among other things, the training manual that's utilized in this course that allows you to really learn a lot of the aspects of really creating reports and connecting to cost or connecting to data sources. One other area resource that we found useful is a lot of online learning platforms. Specifically looking at LinkedIn Learning, but I know a lot of organizations use a lot of other platforms. There's a ton of great content out there that really starts getting into both introductions to these types of tools, Microsoft Power BI, and other data visualization tools. And again, this will teach you how to connect to data sources, create reports, and really a lot of the other things that might be useful to you, both at a beginner level and also advanced level topics. So on LinkedIn Learning alone, there's looks like about 850 courses related to that, and I know a lot of the other platforms have a lot of good stuff. So just as a quick reminder, I mentioned it before, but just wanted to reiterate it. If you are up and running on 2019 1.0, I would definitely encourage you to go download this dashboard from the community and take a look at it and really use a lot of the great information in there to really start comparing your estimates and your data, and really start introducing you to new ways to present your projects. So with that said, that's all I've got. I'm real excited to see what some of you all come up with as it relates to dashboards and visualization of data that you all develop in the coming days, months, and years.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Stephen, for that. It was a really great demonstration. And we've got a couple of questions here. The first one is, does Beck Technology offer support for the dashboard that they've already provided?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we want people to utilize those dashboards and derive value from them, and it's something that we're going to be continuing to add additional components to in the coming releases. So if you get these downloaded and have any problems with this, please let us know. We'll certainly support these dashboards that I've shown today. If you're building your own dashboards, I know there's a lot of the great support from a lot of the vendors out there, kind of specific to how their tools work, and I'd encourage you to get with them to make sure that they answer any questions that you have.
Awesome, great. Okay, and then we just got another one in from Gary Myers with Clark. He's wanting to know, are regional escalations from RS means?
In the specific dashboards that we saw here today, the escalations are really just defined by the user themselves. However, we know of clients that have utilized the RS means indexes as underlying databases to really automate that. So that's absolutely something that can be done, but the ones within our dashboards themselves are really just user-defined and selected.
Fantastic. Hopefully that answers your question, Gary. We've got one last one. Stephen, can you talk a little bit about the database that they're connecting to? Is the data they see, is it going to be from their specific estimate, or are they going to be able to see other estimate information?
Yeah, good question. So, kind of two items on this. The first is for users of DESTINI Estimator, you are for sure familiar with the concept of a cost database, where all of your unit costs reside. This is a separate database that just stores strictly the estimates themselves. Expanding on that further, you're connecting to your own database itself, so you will only see your project information, no one else's. So that all resides on each organization's really side of the wall, so to speak. So you will only be seeing and connecting to your data sets and your projects.
Awesome. So it sounds like that's just like a very localized sort of view.
That's exactly right. So there's a question in the process to integrate project data into DESTINI Power BI from different data sources. So there are a variety of ways that you can connect to data sources. I'm not familiar with all of them, but specific to connecting data visualization tools, whether it be Power BI, Domo, Tableau, etc. In the instance of DESTINI Estimator, those are connecting to the SQL a SQL database where the estimates reside. So that's the relationship between the visualization tools and DESTINI Estimator. I do know that others can connect to Excel and other databases out there, and those are just specific to those particular tools.
Great. Okay. Stephen, thank you so much for taking the time to walk through that and to touch on some of those questions. I believe that's all the time that we've got for today. If any of y'all do have other questions come up after this, please feel free to reach out to me or to our support team. And just a quick reminder, we will be having an Estimating Life webinar on January the 29th. Details will be forthcoming, but we'll be sending a join link for that, or registration link for that. So please be on the lookout for that. Thank you all for attending this webinar, and we will see you again soon.